5 Facts About Dahmer, Netflix show. Ryan Murphy and Ian Brennan's Dahmer. For Netflix aims to present a more modern perspective on the Milwaukee serial killer Jeffrey Dahmer, who murdered 17 men and boys over the course of an 18-year period. In fact, the film's title, Dahmer, Monster, the Jeffrey Dahmer story, expresses this progressive stance in 2 ways and subtly in a third. 1. Glenda Cleveland. Who is she? The most moving feature of the program is Niecy Nash's superb and sympathetic portrayal of Glenda Cleveland, who is shown here living in the Oxford apartments on 25th Street as Dahmer's neighbor. She continually tries to alert the local police enforcement about the actions taking place within apartment 213, where Dahmer is sexually assaulting his victims before strangling them and dismembering them, throughout the course of the series. The most terrifying scenes in the episode take place off-screen, as heard through the vents that connect the adjacent apartments, when Nash's Glenda is unable to sleep at night due to the sounds of drill sawing and screams echoing through the ducts. Glenda Cleveland did in fact exist, but not in the apartment next door as depicted here. Rather, the real Glenda Cleveland resided in a building next to Dahmer's. In Murphy and Brennan's Cleveland, Glenda Cleveland, a real person, is combined with Pamela Bass, Dahmer's real-life next-door neighbor. For more information, check out the 2012 documentary, The Jeffrey Dahmer Files, which includes exclusive new interviews with Bass. Bass did figure out what Dahmer was up to after hearing screams, the sounds of sawing, and the sound of bones breaking while being exposed to the foul odor of putrefying flesh. 2. How did Konerak Sinthasomphone fare? The story of Laotian boy Konerak Sinthasomphone, Kiran Tamondong, a 14-year-old on whom Dahmer experimented with his technique of drilling a hole into victims' skulls, and then filling it with hydrochloric acid in an attempt to make a kind of lifeless sex zombie, is probably the most horrifying and notorious of Dahmer's killings. The plan didn't work right away because Sinthasomphone was confused and stumbling in the street when Dahmer went outside to get more beer. Dahmer was a restless drinker, as the show rightly hammers home repeatedly. Sinthasomphone was then led back to Dahmer's flat, where he was fatally acid injected once more in the skull before having his corpse dismembered and his head put in the freezer. 3. How does his brother fare? Furthermore, in a truly horrible coincidence, Dahmer had already terrorized the Sinthasomphone family in the past. Prior to killing Konerak in 1988, Dahmer was given a year's probation for abusing Sinthasomphone's older brother. Dahmer was certain in subsequent testimony that it was just a coincidence and that they met at Grand Avenue Mall. In the episode, Dahmer is seen purchasing the adolescent beer and fails to draw the link between the brothers. 4. Tony Hughes. What happened? In the 6th episode of Silenced, which was directed by Paris Barclay, Dahmer is seen dating the 31-year-old deaf man Tony Hughes throughout 1991 in Milwaukee after first meeting him at a homosexual club. The episode also potentially reveals Dahmer to be most human, as he appears to have genuine emotions and even tenderness for Hughes. But of course, after their first night together, when Hughes needs to leave for work, Dahmer beats him with a hammer off camera and, it's indicated, performs sex experiments on his corpse. According to Tony Hughes' buddy, Dahmer actually knew him back in 1989. Dahmer claimed in his confession that he had never met Hughes prior to the murderous evening. However, Hughes' buddy claimed that throughout the years preceding his murder, Dahmer had repeatedly sought Hughes out. 5. What about the final courtroom scene's family testimonies? In episode 8, titled Lionel, after Dahmer's father and directed by Greg Araki, the show largely does a good job of handling Dahmer's trial after he becomes famous worldwide for being a murderer, necrophile, and cannibal. It's arguably the episode's most contentious scene since it methodically and verbatim recreates actual trial testimony, particularly at a crucial juncture when victims' families were permitted to come on the witness stand and address Dahmer personally. The production ostensibly was not needed to seek permission from or even notify the families about the series because the murders are matters of public knowledge. Therefore, he added, no one approaches them when they say they're doing this with respect to the victims, or honoring the dignity of the families. At this point, my cousins awaken every few months to a flurry of calls and message informing them that there will be another Dahmer exhibition.